What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with Destiny 2 news and updates directly from Bungie because, of course, it's Thursday, so we get the Twid. In this one, they actually go into a bit of detail regarding plans that they have to make numerous changes to the end game in Destiny 2 moving forward. That does include the conversation around power progression and reward tiers, so there are some specific changes that they sort of loosely outline that they want to achieve over the next few months. They also break down some adjustments that they'll be making as we head into September with the Ash and Iron update, so it's only about a month till we get to that now. They also give a security update, speak about bugs in the game right now, including one that affects one of the Solstice weapons. They of course recap Solstice 2, and there are a bunch of other updates which, are probably pretty important to a lot of players. So I hope you find the video today helpful guys. If you do, be sure to get subscribed, as around half of the viewers on the channel have not yet done that. That would be very much appreciated, but otherwise, let's get into it. You may have seen some of the conversation today about Bungie and Sony's relationship, as in one of the recent earning calls, Sony actually referred to integrating more and more of Bungie into PlayStation Studios, so you'll probably see a lot of conversation about the Sony takeover, which of course is something that appears to be slowly happening. Sony's general language and kind of sentiment towards Bungie when they talk about their relationship does seem to be slowly deteriorating, so I guess that's not necessarily surprising, but certainly as players we aren't going to see anything big change probably in the next 6 or 8 months. But beyond the launch of Marathon, which Bungie are saying will still come in the 2025 fiscal year, which essentially means before the end of March 2026, it's not likely that anything changes significantly before then, but worth a quick mention, and I'll link an article down below that has more details about it. Next up though, getting into the Twid and the Destiny conversation. Bungie say where we're at. It's been a busy few weeks, and the sheer amount of changes that landed with Edge of Fate has had our team working hard to address issues raised and discovered by players. We know that the game needed a lot of fundamental changes to its foundation, and that making those changes was just the beginning of our work. There's much more to do and to improve with these systems to get them feeling dialed in. This is a snapshot of where we are and some areas of our focus. So first up, in terms of what they're doing, in addition to the things that have been found and fixed quickly, we have more queued up for imminent updates over the next few weeks, and more as part of our first post-launch major update, which is planned for the 9th of September. So on that list includes restoring color vibrancy to the World tab, which will continue to live alongside the portal as the exploration-focused part of our activity offering, but they're also working on a fix for the reward preview being lower than actual rewards granted when in mixed fire teams, and Kepler Mythic difficulty will be adjusted to be more accessible for solo play. I think that's a big win, because even if you're a very good solo player right now, trying to do any of that Mythic Kepler stuff on your own is beyond brutal, really. I actually find that content really fun with a fire team, I should mention. So I don't think there's a big justification to change the difficulty in terms of fire teams, but for solo players, it certainly needs to be adjusted. Otherwise though, they're looking into baseline raid and dungeon difficulty, which they're adjusting down, and higher reward tiers are being made more accessible, but contest modes will also bump the tier further. Otherwise, they're restoring an infinite source for Bright Dust with the objective system in update 950, and an earlier grant to make up for missing source. And they say 910 will contain more than the above, including new activities and rewards in both the Edge of Fate and the core game. And I'm guessing 910 is the update that we get in September for Ash and Iron. But they say beyond all of the above, we've got much more in the works as well, and we've been hearing what you've had to say over the past 3 weeks and have gathered feedback to focus on several areas. So firstly, power progression is the most important topic right now, and they say we're still identifying the adjustments we plan to make. Progression, however, is clearly slower than we want it to be, and we plan to generally increase the speed of progression for most players. So Bungie are going to reduce the amount of power grind, nerf it if you like, which I think personally is going to be a good thing for the game, as it's going to allow more players to invest into it, but also allow even very invested or hardcore players to spend more of their time focusing on getting good gear and upgrading that stuff right. I also personally would think there's something to be said for having higher tiers of rewards dropping a little bit earlier in the power bands, as I've said quite a few times. Solstice is a really good example of that. Leveling up in the game is part of the journey, if you like, but I think also earning rewards that make the journey more exciting is an important component of that, so that would be my piece of feedback to tack on to that adjustment. Ultimately though, in the end, what they're referring to is a change to this power leveling system, so give me your thoughts about that. I think a lot of players will be pleased to hear it, but don't expect those changes anytime really soon. Maybe there'll be a couple of minor things here and there, with a bigger rework to those systems a bit later on. Otherwise, they're also looking at portal reward balance being actively adjusted up and down to make more activities feel evenly rewarding. Fireteam Ops in particular is feeling too low right now, and we're working to make it feel viable to make good progress while playing with friends. Of course, one of the big problems is that the solo ops playlists are, by a significant margin, the most efficient way to actually progress in the current system. So obviously I'm not justifying nerfing those pieces of content, but Pinnacle Ops, Fireteam Ops, all those kinds of things certainly can be made more rewarding. And they say that Crucible Ops are also getting close attention. We're looking at raising rewards at lower ranks and increasing the drop rates for comp exclusive weapons. But otherwise, raids have a good baseline weapons and armor, but the drops are not high enough tier, and not enough of it drops for the time investment, so they're planning to improve both the tier and drop rates in a future update. We have even more things planned for our 950 Renegades reveal, but everything above is under active development and will be in the game in the coming weeks, and in 910 in early September, so maybe based on that wording, we might actually see more of the power adjustments in September. They finished by saying, though, we want to thank everyone for the patience and support as we follow up and continue to work on making adjustments. We make every internal effort to ensure a stable launch and good experience, but nothing compares to the torrent of live feedback from a large player community to help inform our decision making. So overall, with the addition of new content also factored in for September, I think these things sound broadly positive, so give me your thoughts below. Otherwise in the Twid, they do a Solstice roundup, so most of you guys who've been playing, of course, will already know the bulk of what you need to know about Solstice. There are loads of cosmetic rewards, as well as the weapons, Yeartide Apex, Festival Flight, and the returning Fortunate Star Bow. They show off the hollow foil variants as well, and reiterate that all Solstice drops are +1 gear tier while the event is active, and hollow foil weapon drops are +2 gear tier alongside a piece of armor at the same tier. For the sake of clarity though, there's a rare chance at hollow foils being tier 5 if you're in the sort of 300 to 400 power range, but if you do get a tier 5 drop, you'll also get a tier 5 armor piece at the same tier, which is nice. I think these loot changes for the event actually could inform Bungie with regards to potentially introducing some higher tier rewards earlier in the power climb. As I mentioned, I'm going to stop saying it now, I promise. Otherwise, they go over the armor bonuses, the new set bonus, and there's a Solstice Summer Event Twitch drop. So they say gift a sub to a participating Destiny 2 livestream between now and August 19th to earn the Gracious Gloss emblem. If you like the look of that, you can find out the participant list in the Twid, which I will link in the description box below. Otherwise, they give a bit of a roadmap update, nothing significant versus what we already know, but they say, next week the portal will receive an update in the form of the Accelerator Score Multiplier. This will slightly increase the Challenge Multiplier, which will make it easier to attain higher reward scores. Given that a lot of us will still be farming Solstice stuff next week, obviously, this will be a useful score multiplier in general, but it will also benefit the grind for the Solstice gear as well, as we'll be able to essentially run slightly easier versions of the activities and still get the same reward score, so that'll be nice. Otherwise, Solstice runs up until the 19th of August, with Heavy Metal returning on September 2nd, and I saw in the database Heavy Metal will be able to drop a few different reward tiers. There'll be some weapons in the loot pool. I'm not sure exactly what they are. They'll probably be Crucible weapons from this particular update, dropping up to tier 4, probably based on Guardian rank as we saw with Arms Week and with the game in general, but that might make it a bit more interesting for more players. Otherwise, Ash and Iron drops on September 9th, and the addition to the list right here is that there will be dungeon content. More details will come soon. So I'm really looking forward to that, to be fair. Otherwise, they point out earlier this week they issued a ban wave. This was to a really significant number of players. A couple of thousand players actually got banned following the Desert Perpetual contest, where there were lots and lots of cheaters. I've seen reports that around half of all the leaderboard clears for that raiding contest have actually been removed following that, so that gives you an idea of the scale if you didn't already know. Otherwise, also in the Twid, there's a section about Bungie rewards that are being retired soon. You can see some of them on screen, pin badges for titles from the final shape year, the Choir of One exotic reward, and some other items. So if you're interested in any of those and you don't want to miss out, the Bungie rewards page is also linked in the Twid, which is in the description box. Finally though, Bungie talk about Fortunate Star. They say, due to the Fortunate Star bow displaying as a precision bow, but being built to be a lightweight, it is not currently receiving the intrinsic benefits of either a lightweight or precision frame. So they'll be updating all versions to correctly receive the lightweight benefits in update 9006. Not sure on the date for 9006, but it will be before the September update, so probably some point in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Last mention here though, they say, we've come to a close, and we wanted to let you know that we hear your feedback about the portal, rewards, raids, dungeons, and more. There are active discussions taking place daily about these items and what we're working on for the future, so we'll share more details soon. In the meantime, we hope you're enjoying Solstice and getting lots of fire drops, literally and figuratively. Huge win on the Solstice drops, I've got to say. For the moment, guys, that is what there is to round up, so give me your thoughts on the changes that Bungie are focusing on, of course some of them in the near term, and other things a bit further out, especially with power and progression, tier adjustments and reward balance, as well as updates to the portal with the new content we'll get in September. While there are certainly issues, Bungie do have a foundation to build on here, with some of the components actually being pretty good. It's just quite flawed right now, so let me know what you think below. If you found the video helpful, a rating really does help me out on the channel, but otherwise thanks for watching and I hope you guys have an awesome day.